Alright, guys. My name's Alberto, aka Destroyer48. Today I'm going to do my movie review over this movie. It's not, I want to say a zombie movie, but they usually want to call it, they're infected. The people are infected. It's 28 days later, so I'm going to start my movie review as this. What you're going to get out of it is that I'm going to talk about it and see if one day you want to see this movie. I'm going to just go over some scenes. Now, let's kick some butt. Let's get to it. 28 days. It starts out in England. It looks like it's in London, and it starts off. There's this science building, a bunch of science and stuff like that. But we got three intruders. They look like burglars and all that. And they go to this place, this room where there's the science room where there's a bunch of monkeys caged up and stuff like that. And they're gonna try to release them, but there's a scientist that sees them. And he says, "I know who you are." And he sees that these intruders, they're all dressed in black. There's a girl and two guys. It looks like they want to release the monkeys. They look like they're animal rights activists. The scientist goes, "I know who you are. You don't want to do that." And do what? And he goes, "They have something in it." He's like, "What? Tell us, what do the monkeys have?" And he goes, "It has rage." And then they end up releasing the monkeys anyways, the intruders. The monkeys go crazy and they start biting the intruders and the scientists. And once they bite one, it looks like an infection disease. When you get bitten, the people get infected and they start feeding on each other. And so they all get bitten and all that stuff. And the scene changes, and it's gonna change to this hospital. I believe it's in London, and there's this guy his name's Jim, and he wakes up in a hospital room, and he's in a hospital gown, and he's totally naked. They even show his private. Jim gets he gets into his hospital gown or whatever. He was naked, but he put the gown on. Then he goes outside. He starts picking up cokes. There's trash everywhere. He doesn't see anybody in sight. And he keeps walking. He walks outside. It looks like London. He's in London. And he goes with his bag of cokes, whatever. And he goes to a church. He starts walking in the church and he sees a lot of people. They're laying down in the seats or whatever. And then he sees like a priest, and the priest starts going towards him, and the priest is like walking and goes to Jim like start walking like that, and then Jim gets his bag of cokes or whatever he has in his bag, and he kills the priest. He goes outside. Later on, he's still walking. It's getting darker, and there's a lot of like trash in the street, stuff like that. It looks abandoned. He doesn't see almost nobody in sight. There's photos of people looking for other people, stuff like that. It's getting darker. Then the infected are coming out, and they start chasing them. And then then he's like near a gas station, and these two individuals that they have like gas masks on, and they're trying to help them out. They're talking, so obviously they're not infected. They start throwing like these bombs, that are fire bombs, whatever they throw them. They're hitting the infected. They're burning the infected. Jim runs with them, and they say, "Follow us." And so Jim follows them, and they throw one of those bombs, and they throw it at the gas, and it blows up, and it looks like they have destroyed the infection people that are running after them. Uh, they're running down. They look like they're running down to a subway thing, like stairs, and then they get to like it's like a side store in the subway, and the two individuals take Jim over there, and Jim goes with them, and then they introduce themselves. It's a girl and a guy. They look like they're in their early 20s. It turns out it's like she says, the girl says, "My name's Selena, and this is Mark." And they start talking to Jim. When they ask, "Hey, what's your name?" He's like, "My name's Jim." And then we got bad news for you, Jim. There's like an outbreak, something like that. They said the outbreak that heard news that there was an outbreak in Paris and in New York, and that's all they heard. And Jim's like, I need to see if my family's all right. And they're like, nothing. You can't go out because people that go out, they never come back. And they tell them, okay, whatever. And they tell them, eat. They throw like some candy. They're in the store, so they throw like boxes of candies at them. They want to eat. But the next day, it turns out that there's nothing going to change Jim's mind. He's going to go look for his parents, and Selena and Mark accompany him. And it turns out that Jim, he was hit in a bicycle accident. That's why he was in a Como hospital as a result. But he's gonna do the walk. He's gonna walk to his parents' house, and Selena and Mark decide to accompany him. When they get there, Jim gets to the house, and Selena's like, "Hey, be careful." Jim goes to upstairs, and he finds his mom and dad. Looks like they committed suicide. Their bodies are all rotten. They left they had a note for him they were holding saying that, please don't wake up Jim to this, whatever. So after that, Jim, Mark, and Selena, they decide they're going to spend the night there. And they do. So they spend the night there. It's dark now. Jim is reminiscing, dreaming of stuff. He's remembering where his parents bought groceries. They walk into the kitchen, and he's like, I'm drinking oranges. I need another card. And they're like, well, we just bought groceries. Here's a card. And he's reminiscing. And then he's near the refrigerator in real life, not the dream. And he's looking at his mom's recipes, whatever. He has a candle on. And infected jump through the windows because they see the candle. And it's like 3 infected, I think, that jump, 2 or 3 that jump in. And everybody gets up. Mark gets up. Selena gets up. They start killing the infected. They start fighting. And Jim is startled. And it seems that they have defeated the infected that jumped in through the windows and attacked them. And Jim is startled, and he goes, those are the neighbors or something like that. And then Selena says, were you bitten? And then Selena looks at Mark. Mark, were you bitten? And Mark's like, suspect. He's like, gives a suspect look. Selena sees that he was bitten in the arm. And she takes out her machete and it's gonna kill Mark. And Mark says, no, Selena. And Selena hacks him, kills Mark. And then Selena points her machete at Jim and says, were you bitten? Did you need a blood get in your mouth? He's like, no, those are the neighbors. She goes, were you bitten? You need that blood get in your mouth? He's like, no. She goes, wipe off whatever blood's on your arm, whatever. We need to go. Infected always come. And he's like, okay. So Lena and Jim, they take off. They're walking in the daytime the next day. And then they're walking, and then they see like a big building in the city that has Christmas lights. And decide they're gonna make the climb up. So they start making the climb. And they get to, I don't know, the 8th floor, something like that. And Jim's like, oh man, I can't make it. I'm tired, whatever. And Selena's like, you need sugar. Here, I got some pop, whatever. And she's like, why didn't you ask me you needed sugar or whatever? You're down. And then Jim says, well, I thought you didn't care because Selena looks hardcore. And he's like, do you have a Tang kind of soda or something like that? She's like, yeah, I think I do. And then they hear noises in the bottom. And she's like, oh no, infected. Yeah, there's infected that are going in the bottom. They're like carts. They're gonna help them climb up to the ladder or the stairs. And Selena says, run, Jim, run. So they start running, and it goes like this, the stairs. They're running up. Jim is behind, Selena's running, and then they have infected behind Jim. So Selena gets to the floor where there's supposed to be people. There's Christmas lights, and she sees like a big guy. It's in riot gear, helmet and shield and all, and baton. My only thing is that has a baton or a bat or something like that. And he goes, go into apartment C6 or whatever. So Selena runs. Jim is still trying to catch up. Selena gets to the door where the riot guy told him, riot big guy told her to go. And there's a little girl, and the girl's in the pan. She's not that little. She's like 13 or 14. And she was like, let me in, let me in. And then the girl's like, where's dad? Where's dad? I'm not going to let you in until I see dad. Jim makes it up to the riot guy, and he goes over there. And the infected come towards the riot guy, big guy. He gets a shield on him and starts beating him to a pulp, and he kills the infected. There was like 2 of them, I think. And then the riot guy, turns out his name's Frank. He's like, my name's Frank. Hannah let them in. So he lets them all in. Hannah finally lets him in because turns out the big guy's name's Frank, and that's her dad. And so they're there. And then Frank says, hey, take out the creme brulee. It's some kind of drink, whatever. And he's like, top shelf or bottom shelf. She wears it. Is it they get it? They have the drinks. They talk a little bit. And then they're going to spend the night there. Frank's going to allow Jim and Selena spend the night there. And then Frank's like, hey, Jim, are you and Selena together? He's like, no. So Selena talks to Jim for a little bit, and she goes to another room. And Jim is asleep in another room, and they'll go to sleep. The next day, Frank is showing Jim. They go up all the way to the top of the building. He has buckets up there. It looks like he's trying to get water from rain. He said, I saw something on TV and trying to do this. And Frank's like, we're not going to be able to stay here for long. Then Frank takes Jim to the ledge. And Frank has his little radio. He turns it. I guess it could be physical operated. You don't need batteries. Maybe he turns it over like a fishing pole. And a message comes out from a man saying, you want salvation, come here. They give a location. Yeah, and Frank's like, we need to get out of here. We can't stay here. Selena hears and says, I don't like it. She's like, I don't like it. I don't like the feeling of it. But they end up taking off anyways. Later on, it shows that Frank was a taxi driver and he has a black British cab. So he's going to take everybody. And they're going to get out of there. So all 4 of them, Selena, Jim, Frank, and Hannah, take off in the cab. Frank's driving. Frank has to go towards the tunnel. But the thing is, there's in the tunnel, there's a lot of cars. They're on top of each other, right? So Frank has to take the car with all of them, and they go up like hills on top of cars. They finally pass the hills, and they're having fun. They're like wee and all that stuff. They're laughing, having a good time. But once they finish getting off the tunnels, you get a flat tire. And Frank's like, okay, Hannah, get off. Let's do the flat tire. Frank and Hannah working on the tire. Jim and excuse me, Jim and Selena are gonna keep a lookout. And then they see rats coming. They're like, oh no, rats are coming. That means infected coming. They're like telling Frank and Hannah, hurry, hurry. Frank and Hannah, they finish, and that infected are right behind them. So at the nick of time, they get out. They avoid the infected. They leave the infected behind. After the tunnel, all 4 of them, they go to the grocery store in the cab, the black taxi cab, and they go get food. Frank gets the apples. He likes apples. Selena tells the group, hey, don't take anything that can't be cooked. Jim doesn't care. He's not listening. He takes a can of meat. They take all food, whatever, and they get back in the cab. And they all throw their carts outside to get in the cab. They take off. And before they took off, Frank puts a credit card down. Like he wants to pay. How cute. You don't have to pay, bro. It's the apocalypse. After that, they there's a part where they keep driving and they go to like this place like Stonehenge, has stones, whatever. They camp out there for the night. They see some horses. Anna says, "Are those horses gonna be okay, Dad?" He's like, "Yeah, they're gonna be fine." Selena is some kind of pharmacist, so she knows, she studied to do work drugs and all that legally. Jim says, "I can't sleep. I need something to help me sleep." Selena gives him a pill, and then they're like, "Hannah, do you want one?" And then her dad says, "No, she shouldn't have a sleepy pill." And she's like, "Come on, Dad." And then Jim's like, "Yeah, Frank, don't be such a softie." And he says she can have half of one. They give her half. They fall asleep, and Frank is on guard. The next morning, they wake up. And it turns out Jim's the last one to wake up. And they're like, "Come on, Jim." He has a bat. He's the last one to get in the taxi cab. And Selena's like, "Come on, Babe Ruth." Because he has a bat. He gets in the car. They take off. There's a part where they go to there's like a store on the boonies. And there's like a tanker, a big tanker truck. Frank's gonna take gas from the tanker truck, fill up the taxi cab with Hannah. And there's a part where the Hannah's being funny. Frank lets her drive. She drives the car, and she makes a sharp turn, just like turns it right here in the tanker. She was the tanker. They would all blow up. Jim takes his bat. He's gonna go to the little store on the side. Selena says, "We already have enough food." And then Jim says, "We don't have any cheeseburgers." So he goes in. He investigates the store. He finds a little kid that's infected. He tries to bite Jim, and Jim gets a bat and kills the little boy. And Jim is seen by Selena. Jim is like has a right. Selena's bad from the blood from killing the little boy. Of course, he feels bad about it. And Selena's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Nothing." She's like, "What happened?" "Nothing. Let's go." So they take off. In the taxi cab again. The group in the taxi cab look like they're arriving. I think the city is Manchester. It's all in flames. You see the building all burning and stuff like that. They get to a checkpoint. Frank says, This is a place where the man said we should come." But Frank doesn't see nothing. The group doesn't see anything. And Selena's like, "What should we do?" And then Frank's like, "We should leave." And Selena's like, "Yeah, we should leave." And then he goes, Frank says, "Where the F are we going to leave?" Frank's upset. He's getting mad. He goes to sit down somewhere. And there's a crow that's almost above him. And on top of a pole or something. And the crow's like, "Meow, meow," chirping. And Frank, it's irritating. Frank is like, Frank says, "Get lost." And the bird keeps chirping, "Meow, meow, meow." And Frank's like, get lost. He gets mad. He hits the pole that the crow was on. Frank's looking up because the crow's up there, and then something falls on his eye. It turns out it's blood. Blood has gone to Frank's eye. And he's like, kind of like this. Hannah sees him and says, "Hey, Dad, are you okay?" And then Frank says, "Hannah, I'm very sorry I got mad, honey, or sweetheart." And Hannah says, "Dad, what's going on?" And then he says, "Hannah, I want you to know I love you very much." And Hannah's like, "What?" She starts laughing like she can't believe it. And then the more she gets closer to him, Frank starts pushing, "Get away, get away." And he's like, "What's going on?" Selena runs to Hannah, and then Frank starts with a like he's changing into an infected person that's dangerous, and Selena's holding Hannah, restraining her because she wants to be with her dad. And Selena yells at Jim at the same time, like, Frank's infected. Kill him, Jim, kill him. And then Jim's like, he's surprised, but and he's gonna take out his baseball bat. He's about to swing and kill Frank or keep hacking him. He's about to swing. There's bullet shots that are shooting Frank like from nowhere. And Frank's like, he falls face first on the street, in the pavement, dead. There's still these bullets coming out of nowhere. They still keep shooting Frank. And then the soldiers scream to the group, like, get away from the body, get away from the body. And then soldiers just pop out. And they end up taking the group in a vehicle, military vehicle. And they take them to some base. And when they get there, they're greeted by Major Henry West. He greets them, how are you, whatever. He's like, we have food and we have a boiler that can actually give you a hot shower. Looks like you need one. Kind of rude. He shakes Selena's hand. West shakes Jim's hand. He doesn't shake Hannah's hand because she's traumatized. So they all go inside. So West introduces them to some of the group and stuff like that. It shows Jim's taking a shower. Jim later on talks to Major Henry West, and Major Henry West is like, tell him, I'm sorry that you probably expected a division of soldiers or a regiment of soldiers be your battalion, something like that, or a lot of helicopters, but no, I'm sorry. But there is salvation here. They're all like, cool. Jim talked to the group. Later on, they're going to have a dinner. One of the soldiers tries to be the cook. And they're on a big table. All of them are there. The soldiers are there. The group is there. Selena, Hannah, and Jim. And the cook messes up the meal. He tries to make an omelet. He forgets to put sugar or salt on it, like that. And Major Henry West tastes the food. He's like, no, throw it away. There's a sound that goes off like an alarm. That means that infected are coming. All the soldiers, they take off from the dining area. They go to the top of the building. They start shooting infected are coming across a lawn, all green grass. The lawn is mined. They're killing infected, shooting them. They're running, and the zombies or the infected are like, oh, they're getting shot, whatever. The infected are stepping on mines, blowing up and going up and stuff like that. And sometimes when they shoot the infected, or the infected land on the mines, it blows up and they blow up. The pieces of them blow up on top of the soldiers. Turns out they've killed all the infected for that alarm. And they're like, clear. They say they're all clear. And infected stop. The alarm was turned off. They get back in and they see Selena, and they're being cocky. They take away her sword, or Selena's sword, and they put it like this, like being funny, whatever. The major gets her. He gets after them, and he gets Selena's machete back, and gives it to Selena. And and they're going to and Major Henry West takes he takes um he takes Jim to go talk in a room, and he says, Jim, how have you who have you killed to get here? You had to kill somebody before you got here. He's like, a little boy, and then he's like, yeah, it's rough and all that stuff, and this is all a bad situation, but we need to have the women. The reason we need to have the women is because we found one of the soldiers, Jones, I believe. He had a gun in his mouth. He wanted to kill himself because there was no future that they had no women. So he's like, we need to have the women. We can't let them go. And Jim is freaking out. He's like, what? So he hears this and he takes off. He tries to escape with Hannah and Selena, but they are stopped by the soldiers. There is one soldier, a sergeant, that turns on the other soldiers, but they capture him, and they capture Jim and Selena and Hannah. And what they do is they chain up in a dungeon. It's like a dungeon kind of. They chain up the sergeant and Jim, and the sergeant's like babbling about stuff. Jim's just there, and they have Hannah and Selena captured. Then it's kind of weird because when they captured them, Major Henry West when they had Jim on the floor, says, "I want you to join us." But no, the next day, I mean, they chain him up to dungeons, and then the next day, two soldiers take the sergeant and Jim to take him out in the boonies, out in the woods, to get him shot. Now they're about to get shot, and out in the woods, they already walked them out there. And it looks like one of the soldiers, they don't even want to bother wasting their bullets on the sergeant. They just want to bayonet him. They just want to stick him with a knife on the rifle. And then the sergeant's like, Jim's there, but the sergeant's like, you just want to stick me like a bloody pig, don't you? And it looks like he wants to do it, but the other soldier looks like he feels sorry for the sergeant, and he shoots him with a gun, and killing the sergeant. But the other soldier is getting mad because he said he wanted to stick him with a bayonet knife from the rifle. So he starts having a struggle with the two soldiers had a struggle there. At the same time, Jim sees an opportunity and he jumps into the bodies, and then the soldier that shot the sergeant says he got away. They start shooting everywhere, and they run after him. I mean, they try to run after him, but they've lost him. Jim has runs the bodies, and I think it looked like he faked it. He tried to go over the wall. His t-shirt got stuck up there, and the soldiers see that, they think he went over the wall, but I think he was faking. He went over the wall. The soldiers try to go look for him, and they can't find him. Before I forget, Major Henry West has shown Jim that they do have a soldier that's infected, that they have him in chains. It's very important to know. Anyways, going back to Jim, he's already escaped. Two soldiers go back. Then it turns nighttime. It's getting close to nighttime. And Jim gets to alarm. He starts whining the alarm. Major Henry West and some other soldiers try to go after Jim out in the daytime. They try to go where the blockade was, where there's some vehicles out on the street. Jim ends up killing the soldier. He gets like some kind of tire iron and hits the soldier across the face while that soldier was trying to climb a ladder. And then West is shooting. Major Henry West is shooting everywhere, but can't find Jim, and he goes back. Goes back to headquarters. Now it's nighttime. The soldiers have gotten Selena and Hannah. They got them to dress up in dresses. They're like, hey, the missus that used to you live here as dresses. They put them in nice dresses. And it's funny because they sit them down, and they still have their teddy. They have these nice dresses on. They have their tennis shoes on. It looks silly. They gotta wait. Gotta have what they have. Don't they have nice? Didn't the lady here have nice shoes too for them to wear? Maybe they have their shoe size. Anyways, the soldiers are gonna try to rape them, have sex with them. They're not being very civilized, huh? They're gonna try to get Hannah and Selena. Selena tries to drug Hannah and give her some pills. And the soldiers catch Selena, give her the pills, and they don't like her giving the pills to Hannah, but it looks like they're gonna succeed. And Selena's like, why don't you all be gentlemen, give us a chance to do this, whatever. That's when she tried to give them the pills, like give us a chance to put on our dresses, whatever, look pretty for you. She's like, you want to put your dresses, leave us alone, whatever. So like catch him, Selena tried to give Hannah the pills. I think she did succeed in giving her pills. Now, so there's like two soldiers guarding Hannah and Selena. But Jim, he goes where Mailer is. Mailer is the infected soldier they have that's chained up in a courtyard. Jim goes to a high place, gets a machine gun, and he shoots the chain of Mailer. So now we have an infected soldier running around. Mailer ends up going towards where Selena, the two soldiers, and Selena and Hannah are at. Mailer jumps to the window and bites one of the soldiers. And Selena tells Hannah, run, and start running. After that, so we have Mailer bite a soldier, get infected. He's going to go out there. And then so we have two infected soldiers, and they're going to start running after the other soldiers. And they're going to start biting and infecting more soldiers. While Hannah and Selena are running, more soldiers are getting infected. Jim gets there and he starts killing some soldiers. He kills one of the soldiers with a rifle bayonet. Again, he sticks the soldier with a knife in the soul. So the infected are killing the infected. The infected soldiers are killing him, spraying to the other infected soldiers, and Jim's killing more soldiers too. Then Jim ends up finding Selena, and Jim has to kill a soldier to rescue Selena. So Jim gets it, man. Jim gets his thumbs and he puts it in the soldier's eyes and pokes his eyes out. I mean, guys, you don't see the eyes pop up. He's like, and Jim is ruthless and he kills that guy by putting his thumbs in his eyes. He sees Selena. He goes towards her, and then Selena gets her machete and is like about to chop off his head. And she does it, and then Jim says, "I thought you weren't gonna take that heartbeat. Like I thought you were gonna kill me." And then she starts kissing him and everything, and then Jim kisses him. He's all bloody too, so it's all over. I think the blood's getting on Selena. I'm like, wow, she doesn't care. She must really like this guy now. She must really think he's hot now. And then after that, Hannah comes with a bottle, breaks it on Jim's head and hurts him. Jim's like, what was that for? Hannah's drugged up. And she's like, I thought you were killing her. And he goes, no, I was kissing her. So they go run. All the soldiers are about dead, I think. They go They go run outside to get the taxi car all three of them. They open the door, and guess who's there? It's Major Henry West. He's in the back seat. He's like, "You killed all my men." He has a gun. He shoots Jim, and right after he shoots Jim, like right here on the side, Mailer, the infected soldier, breaks through the back of the taxi cab and takes out Major Henry West and starts eating him. And I'm pretty sure he killed him. He's gonna get infected of anything. And they all want to get out of there because all the soldiers are dead, but they're infected. So Jim is shot. Selena gets in the back, and then Hannah gets to drive. And Hannah's driving, and it's raining, man. It's raining the whole time. She gets to the gate. It's locked. The chain's locked. And then Jim's like, "Go, run through it." So Hannah runs through the gate. It's a metal gate. It's a big metal gate. She runs through it, and then you just see Selena and Jim going forward. There's like a crash. And it's like a flashback, whatever, and then you see like Jim's like unconscious, but it looks like they made it to some medical place, and Selena puts it's like a hospital or a clinic or something. Selena puts Jim like on a hospital bed or something. Not a hospital bed, some metal thing. It's like for dogs. Maybe it's a veterinarian place. She puts him in something to lay down. She takes out a shot. She does CPR, and then it's like Jim wakes up, and he's out in some cottage out in the boonies out there in the woods. And after that, you see Selena. She's working on a sewing machine. They have a lot of sheets, anything made of sheets, whatever. There's a jet outside. Hannah's there, and it looks like Jim survived. And they're taking cloth outside. And they're trying to spell something, and the jet comes over, misses it one time. They put the cloth together, and it says hello. The jet sees them, and then you also see some infected. They're dying in the street. Looks like they're not gonna last very long. They're dying up by themselves. And it shows that they're like, did the jet see us this time? And they have hello with all the sheets and all that. And then you see just Jim like this. And that's the end of 28 Days Later. This film, I liked it. I watched it several times. I can't really say what the best parts I like in here. I like when Jim meets Selena and Mark. That was pretty cool. They're throwing all those bombs to get the infected down. It's a good film. It's creative. I think that this is the first one to really show, one of the first movies to really show how, like use the cities are empty, that there's, I don't know why, wouldn't you see bodies and stuff like that? You don't see bodies when Jim gets out of the hospital. That's kind of weird. I don't understand the part where they captured, the soldiers captured Jim and West and Major Henry West is talking to Jim, and Jim's on the floor and says, "We want to give you a chance." But they don't give him a chance. They throw him in the dungeon with a sergeant, and then they try to kill him later on, but Jim escapes. He got lucky and escapes. I don't understand that part, but other than that, I like this movie. I recommend you see it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. They don't really use zombies here. They say infected, so it's kind of different. It's kind of a chemical thing. And it started off with monkeys, so you know a reason why the infected come out. I do recommend it. Jim is ruthless, man. He's a hero, but he's ruthless. I mean, he put thumbs in the guy's eyes, so that was cool. That was a good kill. A lot of fast-paced action in this, so they're gonna use that. That's one of the first movies I remember them doing, the fast-paced action thing. So come So go check it out. So that's gonna end my review for 28 days later. Um, I'm gonna leave you with a line. The world will never be a perfect place, but we can all make it better. My name's Alberto, aka Destroyer 48. Till next time, the next review. I will see you later. Bye.